Now, so far we've been doing this in dev mode. And dev mode is where we skip the title screen and we turn off the sound so we can work on the main game. I'm going to turn that to false now. And now we have this title screen. I still want the music off, so I can just say model sound on equals false. Oops, turned off the wrong one. That will turn off the sound effects. Music on equals false. That's better. Now I've got just the basic start button in the middle. And I'm going to copy the same lines that I did here. Well, we've already got the sound buttons on title. And that is in states, right under the state over state title. So go ahead and put the background there. The sound buttons are already there. And I'm going to match up the style and the set here, which is 4-7. Also, I think I'm going to put that button down further on the screen. So I'll take away this align center, which is putting it in the center of the screen. And I'm going to use an align grid, which is something I came up with, which has saved me a lot of time. This, a grid, equals new align grid. And what this does is it splits the screen into different parts. And if I just leave it alone and turn on a one debugging thing, you'll see it divides the screen up into squares. Now I'm going to divide it into 5 by 5, and I always use odd numbers so there will be a line in the center. Great. There's also a way to say show numbers, so it'll number each one of those squares. Now there's two ways I can do this. I can put the button at an X and Y position. Say that I wanted to put it right here where the number 6 is. I could say this a grid place at, and then I would say, let's say 1 1, because it starts up here at 0 0, and then 1 1 would be down here at the 6, and then I pass in button start. There. Now I can also place it at an index. So if I say place it index, and 6, it'll do the same thing. So I'm going to put it down here at number 17. And the nice thing about this is even if I switch to something like the iPad, it stays in place. And I can go back to the iPhone 8, which is much smaller than the iPad, and it's still right in the same place. Because what the grid does, it divides the screen evenly into these squares. I can also get the scale of the button. Align, get scale to game width, and button start. And what that does is it echoes out a percentage. And that is the ratio, the percentage of how big the button is compared to the screen. And it is almost half the width of the screen. So then if I say align scale to game width, button start, and then that percentage, I can take it down a few. That's how we did the basket earlier. So you scheme to LW. And that way when we change it to different sizes, it will stay the same size relative to the screen. Just like we did the basket. There we go. The last thing I'm going to put on here is the logo, and that is the title. Now I can say this title equals game, add sprite, and put it in the center of the screen, or use my align grid. But I have a much easier way to do this, because then after this I have to put in this title anchor and many different things to get it to scale right. But I've made a class called logo, and var logo equals new logo, and the key is title, and we loaded that back here at the start of the game right here, this load main title. And that puts it automatically in the middle of the screen. It anchors it, centers it, everything. But then what we can do is there is a second parameter that I can take the width of the screen and scale the logo to that. So if I wanted it to be half the size of the width, I push in a 0.5, and then again, it works the same. It scales properly on all devices. Let's bring that up to about 0.8. And I'm going to place it up here at number 7. This A grid, place at index 7, logo. Great, I'm going to turn off my guides. Just comment out that show numbers. Boom. Apples and bombs.